President Trump's nominee for Education Secretary is one step closer to confirmation. The Senate Education Committee narrowly voted to support Betsy DeVos. But the Washington Post says she is facing accusations that she plagiarized answers from other sources to fill out the committee's questionnaire. DeVos has also been criticized for her performance at the confirmation hearings and her qualifications for the job. At least 2 Republican senators reportedly have not yet committed to supporting her in the full Senate vote. Margaret Spellings was Education Secretary under President George W. Bush. She's now the president of the University of North Carolina and joins us from Raleigh. Good morning, Margaret.
Good morning, Nora and friends.
Yes,
yes, we are friends.
Nice to see you. Betsy, Margaret, it's well known that Betsy DeVos has spent a lot of money supporting charter schools. She wants to expand the use of charter schools. Donald Trump has said he's going to divert $20 billion in federal funds to help support school choice. What is Betsy DeVos going to do for public education?
Well, I think the question is, what is she going to do for children across our country and helping them get opportunity through education? And certainly charters and choice are part of that recipe. But we also know that most of our students are going to be attending public schools. And so that's where accountability and all the other things that are in the purview of the Department of Education come into play. And I expect her to listen a lot. This is the era of the states. And I expect that she'll be an honest broker and a great leader for all of our schools.
Do you have any question about her commitment to public education?
You know, I don't. I think her record is, over the many decades that she has been involved on the battlefield, fighting for school reform, fighting for opportunity for students in Michigan and around the country. She has an open approach to where those educational opportunities are provided, whether they're in charter schools or private schools or any kind of school. I mean, I think the question is, where can we find the best education for students, not what's the name on the door?
Well, word is that you've been advising her because you certainly know this job. What are you saying to her, number one, that you care to share with us? And what do you think is the biggest challenges she faces if she is confirmed?
Well, I've advised her to get out about the country and learn and listen. You know, any of us who take these big jobs in Washington know that you don't know everything there is to know about the department until you get in there, assemble a great team around her, that's obviously key, and go and find out what's on the hearts and minds of people who work in schools and in universities around this nation. And I'm know that she's going to do that. This is the era of states and local districts. This is where the action is. And so I think she's going to pursue a deregulation agenda, trying to free states and locals to meet, objectives around closing the achievement gap, which has always been the priority of the Department of Education.
I talked recently to Bill Gates and also to another leading philanthropist who basically said they've spent a lot of money and it's so very hard to change public education. What's the problem?
Well, I think often the interests of adults are put before the interests of students. That's why I'm so encouraged by Betsy's commitment really to a student-centered approach. You know, we talk a lot about pay and benefits and tenure and all those things that are really adult issues and often lose sight of some of those student issues. And so, I think that's a refreshing new look at things. That's why accountability is so important, that we understand what the bottom line results are for students.
You know, there are charges of plagiarism. We mentioned that leading to you. Does that trouble you? Should people be concerned?
You know, I think there were many, many hundreds of questions that were posed to her in the aftermath of the hearing, and obviously she had staff and others help her compile those answers. I mean, I think that's a kind of a silly gotcha myself. The questions about her character, her leadership ability, and her experience are obviously fair game, but I think that's kind of a red herring myself.
This is a silly gotcha, too. What happened to that game that you and I bet on between Duke and Carolina?
March the 4th, my friend, $100 on the line. Go Heels.
Okay. Margaret said it's going down. Thank you very much, Margaret Spellings. Charlie says right back at you. He's ready.
All right. Bring us $100.
Okay. He can do that.